It excites me a lot to see it live. So we see the pattern of WebGIS. At a micro scale, I'm not underestimating how complex a port is, but imagine that we can scale that out to a whole city, or to a whole state, or to a whole country, or to the entire world. This idea of dynamic services, organized, accessible, usable in various applications. It's a powerful vision. It's not only a powerful vision, but if I had my slides back on the screen, I would hear, thank you. I'm talking to this guy back here, thanks. This pattern is starting to change how we think about GIS, and actually how we do GIS. And some of you here in the audience are beginning to lead that. Hundreds are actually doing it. It's quite simple to do. That's the amazing thing, as we'll see in some demonstrations later. It's really a matter of bringing what you already have together in a new architecture. Understanding this technology, embracing the pattern into new workflows, sharing this, facilitating collaboration. That's, in a way, what this meeting is all about. I think my sense is this is going to change not only your organizations, but it'll change the way we actually implement and think about geography as a unifying factor. Now I'll shift gears to tell you a little bit about what we're working on. Some of you are very interested in the technical details. Some of that will be shared in deep dives tomorrow, but I'll give you the bigger picture. You know, GIS is organized into, at this stage, 4 different patterns, or 4 different architectures, the most popular of which is the desktop. There are millions of users that hit the keyboards every day, and they do very productive work. A second pattern is a data-centric pattern, where data is brought into one database, like a geodatabase, and then viewed by many applications, client-server architectures. A third pattern is a server-centric, where all knowledge is put into a server and made available as services. And the fourth pattern is the pattern I've been talking about. All the other patterns are alive and well and growing, but this fourth pattern is intriguing, the WebGIS, because it brings together, it integrates together the other patterns into a sort of a mega system without disruption. This new pattern, which is in a way client, cloud, server in nature, is very intriguing for enterprise extension of GIS. It unifies professional GIS through something we call the portal, not what you normally know as a portal, but a kind of a new web pattern portal, with everybody else in the organization, knowledge workers, citizens, executives. And it also integrates in with virtually every device, and also integrates in with enterprise systems like SAP or SharePoint or Office or like that. This means that I can bring mapping, simple mapping, to everyone, but at the same time integrate in GIS professionals who provide the back office and authoritative source, data creation and modeling and analytics. It makes it available as a single system. What do I mean by a single system? It means accessible from any client. The desktop, which is not going away, as well as browsers, as well as devices, any device, iPhones, Android devices, Windows devices, in a single, integrated, simple, and open architecture. This architecture is powered by services. Data doesn't go away, but the new dial tone for the GIS is map services, or geo services. And in the middle is a new pattern of a pattern, a new pattern of a portal, something which is lightweight, search-oriented, and allows the integration of content dynamically, creating these mashups, whether they're visual or analytic, and making the available data open and available as open data, but more importantly, open services, open dial tone services, which collect the organization's information together. So this new adventure for us is seeing ArcGIS as a platform not only for traditional GIS users taking the next step, expanding, using the web and agile architecture it represents, but also a new pattern which is a location services pattern which easily integrates with the rest of enterprise computing and makes simple maps and data and services and geocoding and open APIs available across the enterprise. That's the big picture. So let's go now into some of the aspects of it. First is that this platform includes ready-to-use data, base map information, user-shared services, base maps that are on the land and imagery base maps, but also base maps in the ocean, and thematic layers, which are consistent and authoritative source from national agencies like statistical organizations around the world. Not just mashed up data, no, authoritative services. And then user-contributed content. Now, in ArcGIS Online, over 1 million of these web maps and services have been shared. So it's a rich library of your kind of information that can be used right away in the cloud, from the cloud. This doesn't mean that all data should go into the cloud. Certainly not. A lot of data wants to reside on local servers, but be referenced from the cloud. Searched, discovered, brought together. Views of the data, not the data itself. So this agile architecture can fit in hybrid models in lots of ways. What about the client side? At 10.2, the release last summer, the desktop got better. It's got a lot of improvements, performance-wise, 64-bit, at least, analytic processing, better mapping. We saw some examples of that in your slides. More advanced analytics, some new tools that people have been asking for, and more security. And also the ability to do some simple things like create cache from the desktop to put into servers and cloud. Very powerful tools. Also at 10.2, the 3D aspects of ArcGIS became better. We integrated some of the good work done in Zurich associated with CityEngine to be able to dynamically create and extrude content, very large volumes in automatic ways, and apply rules to visualization, and also create something new called web scenes. To create something new called web scenes. How many know what that is? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, something new called web scenes. Web scenes are exactly like web maps, conceptually, but they're 3D. They're a new ability to, in the web and with a browser, with no software, view visualizations, share them, and view them without sharing the raw data. This is a new pattern, and you'll see more and more of that, some of it shared in the workshops tomorrow. But other new exciting parts like much faster LiDAR, basically the story here is desktop gets better. And also, last summer, we made a decision that all desktop users, I mean, how many people use desktop ArcGIS here in the audience, by the way? Okay, so all desktop users also get, without additional cost, a subscription to ArcGIS Online with its document management capability, its cloud hosting capability, its servers capability, and also analytics capability, and also content. In other words, desktop ArcGIS can connect to the cloud services, and there's no additional cost here. It's kind of like software and services combined in a single solution on the desktop. What this also means is if I'm working on my desktop and I'm making a map or doing analytics, I can right-click, send that map to the cloud, automatically turn it into a service, and then look at that same map from my device. I can open up my iPad or my iPhone and have a look. You get the idea? So I can do my work on my desktop, look at my own work in my own private group, go out in the field, do some field data collection on my device. You get this idea? In other words, I'm not locked to the desktop. I also have apps that can be accessed from the cloud for using the data that I've created in my desktop. It takes me a while to get my hands around this, but basically what I'm saying is that all desktop users now have a whole bunch of apps that they can use on any device, as well as storage space in the cloud, if they want to use it, to share and make that available. I mean, I'll take a cue from Adam. Isn't that cool? I mean, aren't you guys happy? This is, well, yeah. We're also working in the labs on 11. 11, this is the first public time we've said it, even called it 11, will be released next summer. This is going to add new, interesting, simple, all 64-bit applications to the desktop. It's not only 64-bit, but it also brings back multiple windows. Come on, that should be big. It also allows 2D and 3D work at the same time. So I can edit in 3D, see it in 2D, edit in 2D, see it in 3D. There's just a whole bunch of interesting things. A new Windows 8 kind of fluid user experience. Very, 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 very fast visualization and map making. So there's going to be some previews showing of that here at the conference tomorrow. We just finished a workshop on it. It's going into beta in the early spring, and we'll step through this cycle again. This lives on top of and is integrated with the 10x technology. So it's not a huge migration thing. It just steps you into a whole new user experience and bunch of capabilities. At 10.2 last summer, also, we made huge advancements in the image processing and image management capability, including the release of something we call intelligent imagery services. This means I can serve an image and interact with it and do queries on the pixels and see pop-ups, multispectral data. I can also dynamically classify images on the fly instead of the raw data, run it through a classifier, then being able to serve it. I can serve up raw data and interactively do analytic work on it. At 10.2, we also support a number of new sensors like Spot 6 and Landsat 8, and then a variety of others. Finally, the work with imagery has been in close association with some of our business partners, especially Digital Globe and AccuWeather and RapidEye, the standing up of something we call premium services. These are not free services. They're services that these vendors are selling by way of the platform so that I can get base imagery for the whole planet, but I also have imagery that was just taken a few hours ago, or real-time weather brought dynamically into my GIS. The server at 10.2 also is getting enriched. It added higher quality enterprise security with single sign-on, something that, especially in enterprise computing, is needed and wanted. The quality get better, of course. Better administration, some new databases like Netezza support or Hadoop support, and finally, real-time support, some of the work that was shown in Hamburg. More about that in a minute. But the other big thing that happens at 10.2 server is that all of the cool stuff associated with ArcGIS Online, the WebGIS pattern, is actually integrated into the server. So if I purchase or if I have a copy of the advanced version of server, the whole portal technology just comes with the platform. So I can stand up my own ArcGIS Online in my own cloud or in my own data center and serve my own organization on premise. So I want to get across this idea that, to demystify it, that this web GIS pattern is not simply cloud. No, you can implement the same pattern on premise inside your organization. And Portal is the technology that actually enables this. With Portal on servers or from the cloud come a whole bunch of apps. These apps are apps for viewing or query that run on anything. These are apps that do field data collection, like on my iPhone I can be measuring forests or whatever, and putting data into the cloud or putting data into my server, a kind of crowdsourced application. Apps that do operational dashboard, and we saw one of them in Hamburg. This is the ability to put different live services into a frame with widgets that display the live information interactively. So every organization can have a command and control system for the port, for the city, for the police, for the planning department, for management, etc. Also apps for doing analytics, like the spreadsheet app of Office, where I can take Excel, as was shown by Adam, and just drag and drop my spreadsheet onto a map, served by Portal on premise, or served from ArcGIS Online from the cloud, and then story maps. You know, when we were looking at the Port of Hamburg, he was telling a story, but he was using a story map. This is a powerful new medium, actually. And these are free apps that you can pour your own data into, your own services, put your own photos into it, and come alive. And then there's lots more. I just am starting here. I get too excited about it. Behind the server is also a new extension called GeoEvent Processor. And we again saw this in Hamburg. There's real-time data coming in, whether it's feeds from ships or Twitter feeds or lightning strikes or car traffic or just where people are. And the GeoEvent Processor is not simply visualization. We've had that for years, real-time visualization. No, it's real-time analytics. So I can do fencing or geoproximity or geotriggers in real time. And this scales out like 10,000 observations a second. So it's exactly oriented to the sensor network feeds in real-time processing and visualization. Okay, I'd like to now again shift gears from the desktop and server technology that many of you either have or will get to this notion of the platform from the cloud. ArcGIS Online is ArcGIS in the cloud. It replicates many of the things that you can do on premise, but it has the added dimension of having over 1 million maps that people have shared, and it's being updated every week or two. It's all about simple mapping, an open platform for integration based on the architecture that I've been describing. It supports the notion of content management and also apps for everyone. Now, about 2 weeks ago, this platform had a major release, and it was called the Marketplace. The Marketplace makes available not only shared free apps, but also commercial apps that our business partners and some of you wish to sell. You can just put up your app there and do business-to-business transaction that leverage the online platform, but also leverage on-premises services. It's kind of like what Apple did with their iStore World for music. Not only are there apps for sale, but also these new content services that I mentioned a minute ago. Ismael's going to show us this because there's new stuff.
There is.
There is? Okay, Ismael, take it away.
Thank you, Jack. OK, so this is ArcGIS Online. Well, it's actually my own ArcGIS Online. I made it my own. ArcGIS Online can be configured, and I did. I gave it a look and feel that represents my organization. I populated it with maps that are representative to people within my organization. I used ArcGIS Online because it's an excellent way to deliver GIS capabilities to everyone, to organize your maps and your GIS apps. So here in the homepage, I have featured a handful of maps, like this one. This is about the carnivals in Cologne. Are you familiar with them? It's using a story map, very similar to the ones you have seen before. Another very popular map in my organization is this map that represents hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots in the center of Cologne. These are public maps. Anyone that has access to my ArcGIS Online organization can see these maps. What I will do next is to go inside my organization. I will use my own account, an ArcGIS organizational account. In this manner, I can see not only public maps, but also maps that only can be seen within my organization. These are private maps. Maybe these are maps that have sensitive information. ArcGIS Online allows you to organize your maps and apps. In fact, you can use groups. This is a very interesting concept. In my organization, there are different groups, different departments, like the Public Services Department, the Urban Planning Department, and each of them has a group. Why do we create groups in ArcGIS Online? Well, because you want to control who can see what, security. But there are also groups that you create for collaboration. There is a project in which you need to involve the police, the urban planning departments. You can see this list here of people. These are people from different entities, departments in my organization. They belong to the same group, so they can collaborate. They can look at the same maps. They can share their knowledge. ArcGIS Online is truly a perfect platform for geo-collaboration. But what I want to do next is to create my own map. And for that, ArcGIS Online is also a beauty. This application in my web browser allows me to do all sorts of mashups and analysis. You will see that in a second. As Jack mentioned before, ArcGIS includes content, actually worldwide content, like you can see here. And there are many base maps that come with these ArcGIS organizations. Let's go back to Clone and have a look at some of these base maps, just a handful of them. This is the topographic base map. It has been made with contributions from many of you. In the case of this city, you can see that it even describes the footprints of the different buildings. Here you will see other base maps, like the imagery base map or the OpenStreet base map. High-resolution imagery for all Europe included with ArcGIS. Here's OpenStreetMap, also very useful, one of my favorites. You can use it as well with your ArcGIS accounts. OK, so I said I was going to create my own map. Why? Because GIS can help you answer questions. And I have questions today. Let's see how this application can help me. This is an spreadsheet. It has some information. It has locations representing stores. And it also has a column with sales. I'm going to sort these from largest to smallest. And this is going to tell me which store is going to do better and which store is doing the worst. But I'm not interested in who. I'm interested in where. Where do I do good? OK, well, for that, I need to bring this spreadsheet into a map. So I drag into my map, and I use the directions to place the stores at their locations. There you have it. Not enough. That's just step one. I really need to know where I'm doing good, and I don't see it in the map yet. So I'm going to change the symbols. I'm going to represent these stores with different sizes, using the sales to, well, create bigger or smaller symbols. And I typically represent sales with a blue circle, so I will select it here and go. Okay? So the bigger the circle, the more sales on the store. This is now telling me something. It's telling me that I'm doing well in the historical center. I'm not doing that well on the outskirts. Across the river, I'm also doing well. But I still have questions. Now I know where, but not why. And to understand things, GIS is great. So let's have a look at some of the things we can do. First of all, I'm going to combine this sales information with other layers. These layers can be found with the search. These are layers within your organization or outside your organization. In this case, I found a layer that represents my competition. And I can now compare and see what happens. Maybe this red dot, my competition, explains why my sales are small in this area. In fact, here I can see that I'm doing very well and there is no competition around. Well, that may explain why. This is the most basic analysis you can do. It's powerful. It's visual analytics. You visually interpret the map. Very powerful, like our brains. But let's do one step further. You all know ArcGIS Online for its mapping capabilities. But what you are going to see next is new. It's analysis. In ArcGIS Online, for data that you have loaded, you can perform analysis. You just need to select this new option here. And we include several things. These are the classic GIS analytical tools like dissolve, merge, overlay. Here are some options for summarizing data. For example, I could take all these points and aggregate them into polygons, so I could create a shaded colored map. I can even use these advanced geostatistical functions to do hotspots or explore correlations of data. Very powerful tools. Now, today, I'm going to show you something that I'm very excited about. It's called data enrichment. This analysis is going to be run on Germany. So I'm going to select Germany, and you can see here the different data collections that we have for Germany. I'm going to do an analysis 1 kilometer around my stores, and I'm going to call this analysis sales potential, for example. Now, let's run this. So what is happening now is that literally in this spreadsheet that I showed at the beginning, we are adding additional columns, more attributes. These attributes represent variables. And the values really tell me what is going around 1 kilometer around for every store. For example, population. How much population lives 1 kilometer away from my stores? This information is coming from a huge database that we have in the cloud, which collects information from Michael Bauer Research. We have over 100 variables for every country in Europe. And you can use that information to enrich your own data sets right away, like you can see here. Now, once this process has run, it's going to create a new layer on my map. You can see it in green points here. And just so you can see the different variables that I brought to my data set, I'm going to show you here this window. You see, we have total population now for every store in the map by age, by gender. We have purchasing index and many other variables. I will use a technique similar to the one I used a few minutes ago to change the symbols of this enriched layer. Again, I will use different sizes, but in this case, I will use a field that represents the target population for our stores. For the symbol, in this case, I'm going to use a square. And let's see what happens. OK, that's telling me even more, right? In this case, we have great market potential. And our competition is strong because we are not doing a lot. Here, however, we have great sales potential. We are doing very good despite our competition. And here, easy. Great potential, great sales. So as you can see, this is helping me know more and more. What I will do next is to save my work. I'm going to give this a name, some tags, so people can find this information easily. And then I save my map. I'm actually saving a web map, and Jack talked about it. The beauty of the web map is that you author it once, like I did. And at that point, anyone can access this web map from literally any device, from any browser, from a mobile device like this, from a tablet, from a field device, from anywhere. Author wants reuse in any application, even from Office, like you saw in the HPA demonstration. Now, the next step, of course, once you have the web map created, is to actually share it with people, right? So here you can control who can access your web map. Could be everyone, but I want to keep the information restricted because it has a confidential information. I can say, well, everyone within my organization or only people within a particular group. Now, once you have selected the people you want to share with, you can take the next step. OK, you can see it. You can see the map, or do you want to see an application? Well, maybe you want a more finalized cartographic product. So here are different templates that I can use to transform my web map into truly an information product that people can use easily. We will basically get rid of all these buttons around and just get the basic user experience that is needed to explore the map, to communicate the ideas that we want to communicate with this map. So what you have seen in this demonstration is really a brief demonstration of how ArcGIS Online can help you build your own ArcGIS organization to help you organize your maps and your apps so people can easily discover them. You have also seen how ArcGIS Online allows very easily people to create their own information and share it with others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ismael. It's great. Thank you. It's good. As Ismael said, this is not just mapping. It's also simple spatial analytics delivered into the location platform. A whole bunch of new tools are now available, and more will come in November, and more will come in March, and more will come in the summer. So our intention here is to both simplify analytics into this new user experience for disseminating geographic data. One way to think about this is these are new services that you can provide to your colleagues in other departments. Those of you who are interested in spatial data infrastructure services, these are new powerful ways that you can interact with, not just delivering the data, but delivering the service, delivering the dial tone, making it available across your organizations and across countries. This kind of services is not just for simple mapping or even simple analytics. This has been designed to plug directly into business intelligence or business systems. For example, Office. So I can serve into Excel, geo-enrich Excel spreadsheets, and make maps. I can also serve into other more sophisticated business systems like SharePoint or IBM's Cognos or MicroStrategies, or the whole spectrum, actually. This is going to be a platform technology for the enterprise. Of course, geospatial workforce people like yourselves will use it, but also your information, your geographic knowledge can be shared in a whole new way. So that's why I made this distinction earlier this afternoon between it supports the GIS professional. It also supports a new kind of platform technology that goes across the enterprise. Esri is also working on something called solution templates. Solution templates are taking our core technology and building out solutions, and we have hundreds of these now available on the web. But these solutions are not end-user solutions. They're almost, you can take them and configure them to your own setting in local government, in military, in utilities. You can configure them easily because they're open sourced and they're free and they're open and available. This is more of the apps on top of the infrastructure story. These will improve productivity not only for end users, but also for our rich community of business partners. What's going to happen in the next year? This is a roadmap. We will have a release near the end of the year. We're calling it 10.2.1, which is a service pack release about quality, but also has a number of new characteristics in it. more about that tomorrow. Again, as I mentioned, next summer we'll be releasing a release called 11, which will bring 64-bit processing into the desktop and make a whole bunch of additional improvements. These efforts, our work, what we do in our engineering labs, focuses on quality and performance, of course, but also one of the reasons why we're here is to listen to problems that you are facing and get ideas from you about what you want us to build into the core platform. This pattern of communication, and I think why we were successful, has been going on for decades. And so we need the right relationship to be able to make that work. You need to be able to talk frankly to us. You know what I mean by that is, a friend of mine this morning pointed something out on my coat. There's a little spot, it's still sort of here. Only a friend will point that out. So, you know what I mean? I need you to be frank with us, not silly about it, but if we have problems in our technology or if you want us to make improvements, I want you to be straight and tell it the way it is so that we can make improvements in serving you. That's the nature of our relationship, and I very much appreciate it over the years. Esri is more than software. We support you with technical support through our distributor network, with publications and training. Increasingly, these are going online. And also short services, especially a new series of package services that help our customers be more capable and productive very quickly. We call these jumpstart services. Instead of on and on and on, they're meant to be focused ways that you can pull some of our people in for short duration and high impact. Seems to be a new pattern for us that's working well. Our partners are one of the key reasons also why we are successful, and we have thousands of them. They're also committed to your success in solutions or in enabling technologies. Delivering this kind of solution space has been a major part of our success as well. And now with this marketplace, they are delivering services in whole new ways. Let me close by a statement about Esri. We are strong and growing, and I appreciate that. In part, that comes from the relationship that you and I have, and I really want to say thank you for that. Our purpose, as we see it, as we make it up, is to advance GIS, the platform, and take care of you. That's how we're wired. And year after year, this seems to have been a sustainable business model. We also look to how we can make a difference with our technology, and we have programs that provide free software to NGOs and special areas in conservation. We have about 20,000 NGOs that we support with software and technology. Also in education. This is an area where I'd like to partner more with you, which is providing our software into educational settings for promoting science, technology, engineering, and math learning using GIS as a platform. A third area where we are especially launching actively this year is providing our software, again, for free to young, new startup communities of developers, empowering them with the power and message of maps in their apps and geospatial processing in their apps. And there are now thousands of these blossoming around the world in incubators and other kinds of activities. These are things that we do on the side, besides serving you, but I think all three of them feed back to you and are part of our community, and I appreciate the opportunity that we can do in that regard. Let me summarize my entire presentation by simply saying, clearly you and I need to create a better future. And it's a daunting task considering the challenges that we're facing. We need to create a better future for us, for our families, for our organizations, because considering what appears to be sometimes almost inevitable, it's just not so good. We need to create a better future for the community, our community, your communities, and ultimately the planet. I think your work, as I showed in examples, are already making a difference. It's not that you're not making a difference. I think you are making a difference by being more efficient, making your organizations more efficient, making better decisions within your organizations. You're making a difference by improving communication through the visual medium. You're making a difference by bringing science into the way that your organizations make decisions and are more accountable. All of those things are really fantastic. They're leveraging the best that we can do. I wanted to get across the idea this afternoon that there is a new pattern, however, that builds on everything that we've already done. This web GIS, I think, has an opportunity. It's my theory. It's also my best assumption that this pattern actually gives us a hope to raise the bar of understanding and support more effective decision-making and design everywhere. Embracing this pattern is important. It's going to save a lot. It's going to make you as GIS professionals just more efficient at what you do. Clearly, that's true. Integrating it into your existing work will make your existing work just simply better. But in a broader context, the collaborative nature of what this architecture really represents, I think, has an opportunity to transform our world in a bigger setting. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for coming today, for coming to this conference, for participating the way you are and will, and also for giving me a chance to share my thoughts. Thank you very much.